Hi, welcome to my weekly bird wrap, and this week I've got three great stories from around the world. The first one is about thunderbirds and how did they become extinct, ospreys and them being rescued from extinction in South Australia, and how Hollywood is coming to the rescue of birds with song, prose and poetry. Hi, I'm Neil Hermes and welcome to my weekly bird wrap. My first story today is about thunderbirds. Now, thunderbirds were this enormous bird. They're extinct. They became extinct tens of thousands of years ago in Australia. They were 5 times the weight of an emu and about the same height, about 2 meters high. They were massive birds. They would have been birds that would have terrorized people. But they were flightless and they had huge eggs. And when Aboriginal people first arrived in Australia, these thunderbirds were very common. 55,000 years ago, these birds were everywhere. Within a short space of time, they all became extinct. Now, it's been a point of controversy for many years as to whether or not the birds became extinct because of natural causes, they became extinct because of climate change, or whether Aboriginal people who arrived on the continent had some hand in the extinction of these birds. In other parts of the world, in New Zealand with the giant birds there, the moa, and in North America with their megafauna, it's clear that the first people, when they arrived in those continent of North America and New Zealand, they had a very big hand in wiping out those animals. They were easy to catch, easy to kill, and they provided a huge amount of food. The question has been, did the thunderbirds in Australia get the same fate when Aboriginal people first arrived in Australia? And the evidence has been unclear. There's never been found any mass slaughter sites of these birds. There hasn't been found sites where clearly the birds were butchered in any sort of way. But there have been found burnt eggs. Now, some people have claimed that this demonstrates that Aboriginal people were eating the eggs. Others say it was natural fires. DNA testing hasn't helped us. So this controversy's gone on for some time. But a recent piece of research done in South Australia using protein from some of these ancient eggs illustrates that, in fact, the burnt eggs that have been found in kitchen-type stoves were, in fact, the eggs of these giant thunderbirds. And, in fact, Aboriginal people probably did eat the eggs in large numbers. And so it is possible now that we can say that Aboriginal people had a hand in the extinction of these birds, as many of the megafauna, or all of the megafauna in Australia disappeared at about the same time. I'm sure there'll still be controversy about this, but this is another piece of information about what caused the demise of the thunderbirds in Australia. On a completely different tack, my second story today is about ospreys. Now, in South Australia, ospreys are very rare. Ospreys are these beautiful seabirds that come in, swoop down with their talons, grab fish near the surface of the water. The birds take off. Often they get pulled partially under or even fully under the water in doing the capture, and then they bring the fish back to land and then eat the fish or feed the fish to their young. Highly agile birds of prey that live around our coastlines, but sadly reduced to less than 50 pairs in South Australia. And the really good news is that in South Australia, groups of park service officers, volunteers, men-shed people have come together to build new nesting sites for these birds. The sites that they like to nest on are usually remote. They're high points on cliffs or trees around the edges of cliff tops. And what people have been doing is building artificial towers to put nests onto. And in South Australia, they've been doing this successfully now for a number of years. They've put monitoring cameras on some of these nest sites. So over the next few years, we're hoping to see a really big resurgence in the numbers of ospreys being bred and potentially the numbers of ospreys then resident in South Australia around places like the Eyre Peninsula and the Yorke Peninsula, those rich, beautiful coastal areas. The oceans are full of fish, and these fish-eating seagulls, these osprey, will come back and we'll be able to see them in those beautiful locations in the future. My last story today is about Hollywood coming to the rescue of birds. Now, it's a fabulous story. Hundreds of Hollywood stars have come together, musicians, writers, prose writers, poetry writers, to produce an enormous piece of work which will be on CDs and available to download. They're producing, I believe, an LP set of the spoken word and the music, and hundreds of different Hollywood stars are involved in the production of this. This ode to birds, this recognition of birds. All the money that's being raised from the sale of this project is going to bird conservation projects. So I'll put a link on my website and attached to this YouTube clip where you can go and see some of the material, potentially purchase some of the material. I've had a listen to some of the music myself, and it's all new material, and it really is lovely what they've done to recognise and to praise birds and the part that birds play in our lives. So thanks to all those contributions that are coming in, and well done to those behind organising this, this fabulous record, a representation of birds being done by all these famous stars. Check it out, and while you're there, check out my other clips on my YouTube channel, check out the website, and perhaps you'd like to come with me on one of my regular walks I do each month for a few hours around Lake Burley Griffin here in Canberra, or perhaps with one of my more remote safaris that I take from time to time. Check it all out on the website. Thanks for watching, and happy bird watching.